Yay! Welcome everybody and welcome Kathleen.
Hello.
I'm so glad to have you on here. Kathleen has an amazing YouTube channel, is a nature journaler, and you probably all saw Kathleen in that recent show we did where we talked about our experiences. Uh-oh, that's the example of having my YouTube open at the same time. I just told you not to do that, and I accidentally did it myself, so kind of funny. Let's dive right in here because it is a visual audience. So maybe you could share some recent pages. People always love seeing other people's nature journals or art journal pages. And maybe can you describe, as you show us some pages, how mixed media and this concept of 5 minute art can relate to nature journaling?
Sure. I'm Kathleen Erla
I thought
Johnson.
so.
My background is in teaching elementary school art, and I love both art journaling and nature journaling. So I thought maybe I'd just do a little example of the difference between the two and how I cross them together. With art journaling, I love mixed media, art supplies, playing,
Ooh,
exploration, um, working in different media, and sometimes kind of putting it in actually, oftentimes in a reflective or
ooh,
almost an art therapy type of a way of self growth, learning, healing. This is a page where I did some recipe journaling and some coffee painting.
nice.
So I like a little bit of a variety of things with mixed media in that way. Then when I take it into nature journaling, I like bringing the mixed media approach, but focusing it more on nature and the world around us. This is a book where I printed out a poem from the Nature Journal Educators meeting that everyone
Ooh,
kind of
great idea.
collaborated on and then added it onto here. I've got a whole bunch of examples, but I'll just stop right there and let you jump in with some more comments or questions.
Yeah, that's great. Hold on. Here we go. Cool. Thanks for sharing that. That is really exciting. I'm going to look over at the chat here. James is here. Jean is here. Welcome, everybody. And for the rest of you that are watching this live, go ahead and post something in the live chat if you have any questions for Kathleen. But let's just dive right into it. Maybe you could say a little bit more. I saw on your YouTube channel, and I'll post this in the chat so people can see it and find you. You had a couple of these videos about this 5 minute art concept. Could you talk a little bit about what that is?
Sure. It's not my usual style to set a timer or do 5 minutes or try to confine myself or define myself in some kind of way. And I did it to stretch myself, to try something different, challenge myself, kind of as a morning practice. So I set the timer for 5 minutes and five art supplies, but I didn't choose the art supplies ahead of time. There's two series of videos on there, and I didn't plan out the pages ahead of time. I just kind of brainstormed as it went. The idea was to take away the inner critic or the thinking part of my mind and just go for it because I had the little bit of a time pressure that I wasn't used to. Also, I was just starting up my YouTube channel. I wanted to learn how to do videos, and I thought, well, people might be more interested in little bite-sized chunks of techniques to learn about me as well. So that's how I started with those 5 minute art ideas.
Yeah, that's such a great idea. I think that can sort of lower the bar or sort of lower that feeling of like, oh my gosh, this is going to be like this huge thing, but it can actually just be 5 minutes. So I'm going to put I put it in the chat, but if you didn't see it, if you can't find in the chat, here is Kathleen's channel right here. Super easy to find, Creative Solace Studios. So maybe you could say a little bit of more about the oh, nice. Maybe you could mention a little bit more about the name, and also you use the term art therapy. Could you talk a
Mhm.
little bit about the name of your channel, and is it related to art therapy, and what does that mean for you?
I'm not an art therapist, but I'm definitely an art educator and a proponent of wellness through the arts. I think physical and mental health and wellness can be improved and bolstered through different avenues that we find that speak to us and our health journey or healing journey. Having dealt with my own health issues, I just know that when I get some paint or whatever supply is on the page, sometimes I can express things that I couldn't say in words, or maybe feelings that I didn't know that I had. And I just think it's a real avenue for self growth and working through different things in life, a coping mechanism.
Cool. So I love that concept, and I've heard a little bit about it. Haven't delved that much into it on the channel actually. Maybe you could talk about like um how do you think that the idea that art can be therapeutic, or that this creative practice can be therapeutic, how do you see that potentially connecting with nature journaling?
hmm I see any type of a journal, whether it's a nature journal or an art journal, as a vessel. It's a little container that you're carrying along or putting things into, whether it's your recordings of the natural world and your observations and field notes, or it's something more abstract. And I think that when we work through things with our hands, that it's a different feeling than if we
Mm,
were trying to say things with words. I did take my 5-minute art projects a little bit further recently. I rewatched some of them as if I was the student in my own class,
mm.
and I've been doing a affirmation art journal
I'm
page
gonna zoom in
for
on you because I saw this on your YouTube. I love how this looks. Look at that, everybody.
every morning this year. I've been writing an affirmation, and then I'm combining that with my 5-minute art journal videos. For example, in this one, the affirmation is I welcome life with open arms. I took the palette, the materials, the process from one video and the affirmation from another, put them together just to go a little bit deeper than just here's 5 supplies in 5 minutes, get it done. I wanted to take it a little bit further.
Yeah, that's really cool. For people who don't know what affirmations are, or that style of journaling, could you describe a little bit?
Sure, just anything, any intention that you want to set for yourself, whether it's I am, and then you fill in the blank after that, or it's something that you're working on that you wish your life would be like, or certain things in your life would be like, just saying it in a way as if it already was that way, setting the intention, setting a framework for how you'd like your life or your day to be.
Nice. Yeah, I definitely when was doing I've been out of the practice a little bit lately, but when I was doing sort of a daily journaling, like a 5-minute journaling practice every day, I was affirmations was one of the ones I was doing. Like I am strong, or I am healthy, or I am loved. Those are examples of affirmations. And when I saw that it was visually it has that sort of like crammed look, or that just like very like abundant look, and that was just very visually compelling when I saw that on your YouTube channel. It looks like a couple people have subscribed to your channel already.
Thank you.
Water World said that they just described, so that's great. And then James shared a project that he's working on with his niece with pressed plants, which is a cool way to incorporate some sort of art journaling or mixed media techniques. Maybe you could mention something mixed media related. So James just mentioned the pressing plants. What are some mixed media things that you think are sort of low hanging fruit for nature journalers that all nature journalers should try?
I'll show a couple nature journals where I've got mixed media in there, but I think I'm going to show this first. Just any time that you are creating something, whether it's with markers or paint, I like to have a booklet where I just wipe my brush off or use the extra paint,
Mm,
and then you can write quotes on top of it. This is a gratitude
mm.
list on top of it. You could write your observations in nature just to have your own pre-made background papers, really.
Right. So basically, every time people are cleaning their brush, that scrap paper could be an art project, basically.
And I've done it just on cardstock or a mixed media paper on the side, just, cleaning your brush off on there or testing a pen out on there, just little scribbles, and either writing over it or collaging a quote or notes on top of it. That's an easy way to add some
Oh
mixed media
yeah,
to
that
your journals.
that reminds me. I used to always. I've been out of the habit lately, but in my watercolor palette, I used to always have. It has this like extra mixing area, but I used to always use a rubber band and hold paper here, and then I could use
Oh,
that for like test swatches and also for cleaning my
yeah.
brush. And those pages, those little places where you do clean your brush or you test your watercolor, sometimes like I think I have one right here. Sometimes those end up being like almost like a work of art in and of themselves. So like figuring out a way to like not just waste all of that. That's a really smart idea.
And if you don't like the
Okay,
whole page, you can always cut it apart into smaller tags or smaller
exactly,
pieces.
exactly. Okay, we've got a question here from the audience about supplies, but let's go just a little bit further before we're going to talk about supplies right before the lightning round. And folks, if you're watching this as a recorded version, stay until the lightning round. It's everybody's favorite part. And we will talk about supplies. That's also a favorite part for most people. But first, maybe you could talk a little bit about how you got started nature journaling, because how people get started nature journaling and tips for nature journaling beginners is also another thing that people are always super interested in. So we will answer this question from the audience, but first, maybe you could tell us how you got started with nature journaling.
I think whether you have kids, work with kids, are a kid, are tapping into your inner child, any time that you can start putting your personal experiences onto paper is outstanding. I can remember in elementary school going on camping road trips, like to Glacier National Park with my family, and my mom had this journal for me. And, sometimes I would be all excited to write in it. The pages are probably this big. So to me, it seemed like forever writing. But sometimes I was like, oh, do I have to write again? But that is like the most precious thing about the wildflowers that I observed and the hike we went on. I remember with my dad in junior high, we portaged into a remote lake in Canada. We didn't take very much with us. We're carrying the boat and everything. And sure enough, I brought a journal and I sat in my tent and did stuff. I was also a park ranger before I was a teacher. And in one of the parks that I was at, I created handbound books in the visitor center. Then, when I led guided hikes, I passed them around just with a pencil. Went from one person to the other, and they sketched a leaf. They jotted down a note. Then I set them up in the visitor center so people could reflect on those.
Wow, that is really cool. So it sounds like you've been journaling since you were a little kid, and I love that you used nature journaling as a park ranger. Do you feel like that's something that is common, or is that
I
not
hadn't
very
seen it
common?
before, but I'm sure somebody else does it. It was really fun because it brought some continuity. When you're in a park, sometimes there's a lot of visitors coming through, and they're just there temporarily and moving on, and the next person came. So it kind of created a link between people who had visited before and people who are coming in, and like a whole story, not just an isolated incidence of being at that location.
I love that. I wish we could get that into how can we get all of the national parks to have some type of nature journaling? That would be so cool.
That would be really cool.
Okay, great. So, what do you think? It sounds like you've been nature journaling for a really long time and had this journaling practice as a kid. Maybe you could tell us, like, what do you think are some common misconceptions that beginners have about nature journaling?
Oh my goodness. Even, just like teaching art to kids where they think it has to be perfect or finished. You know, nature journaling is your note taking. It's your diary. It's your visual diary that you're recording your interactions with nature. So it doesn't matter if it's a scribbly thing. The other day, my husband and I were out at a restaurant, and there was a bird sitting up on a pole above our patio, and I sketched the bird and wrote some notes about how its throat was making the movements when it was calling. And you know, it can be something really minor like that. But the other thing that I want to mention is that nature journaling doesn't have to be just in the present time. A lot of people think that it has to
Mm,
be field notes or what's going on right now. I mean, even though I've been doing journals for years, my style and information evolved. And so it can be a memory uh,
wow.
thing
Hold
as
on, let me put a
well.
solo layout because that looks so cool.
Okay. This is a book where I was using the Inktober prompts last
Wow.
October, and I nature journaled memories. It didn't even have to be
Mm,
things that I had photographs of. Some things I could have had a photograph of, but some things were just memories of things from, you know, 30 years ago that
wow.
I put in there. And so I think it's important to realize, hey, I've had a lot of life experience before today. And even though I'm nature journaling in a certain way today, what about all that good stuff I did in the past? I can still put it into a nature journal.
That is a great idea. I feel like that could be a whole show about nature journaling from memory.
Mhm.
And I love how you said that nature journaling doesn't have to happen in the present. That I'm probably gonna be thinking about that for a couple days now. So thanks for planting that cool concept in my mind. Okay, well, thanks for sharing about how you got started with nature journaling and common misconceptions for beginners. My one last thing about getting started with nature journaling or how to get started with nature journaling and beginners and all that is what like sort of tips do you have for people who are just getting started with nature journaling?
Definitely, I don't know what the supply question is, but I'll just speak to that. Use what you have. You know, doesn't matter. Use what you have. I've got it somewhere around here. My Wild Wonder conference notes from last year and this year. This is photocopy paper, and
Wow.
photocopy paper, and I have glued in some pockets. Here's the mixed media connection
Wow.
with some mixed media paper, but it doesn't have to be something fancy. This is
Yeah.
last year's
Oh, I
journal.
remember the ptarmigans workshop.
Yes, I'm still working on this year's.
Nice. That
Um,
is really cool.
and don't forget about thrift stores. I like to get interesting supplies from there. Sometimes I get
Okay.
actual art supplies. But last week I got a photo organizer that is brand new. Someone's discarding, and I don't want to do all my journals this big because it's huge. But look how fun! I could put a
Oh,
title that would show up on the front, like maybe all the birds of my backyard, or maybe the plants as I walk around my neighborhood, what's in the landscaping. And you could see the title on each of these, and then I can slip little cards in there. So you never know what you'll find at a thrift store that you could use.
that is a great tip. And so if you're enjoying this and getting some value out of these tips, go ahead and give a like. It looks like we had 14 people watching for a moment there at least. Some people are watching on Facebook as well, I know, and it's also on Twitter. So go ahead and give it a thumbs up and also check out Kathleen's on all of these platforms as well. So I think we're already there, so let's go ahead and go into the supplies. Um, the question we had was from here, Waterworld. I'll share this one. What is your favorite art product or supply?
I love fluid acrylic paints. It's like a cross between watercolor and thicker bodied acrylic. Here's my favorite color right here.
Whoa,
It's
okay.
golden teal. And I like a really wet brush. I can dip my brush in water, dip it on the paint, dip it back in water, paint with it. It flows just like a watercolor, but it's thicker and more opaque.
And it's called, well, it's liquid acrylic,
Fluid acrylic.
fluid, fluid
Um,
acrylic.
on the top here, fluid acrylic.
Great. Okay. Good to know. Let me send some love to the live chat section. People are pretty active in here. Stan um, commented.
Riley, are you
Great.
there? Okay.
Oh, can you hear me?
You froze for a second. You're back.
Oh shoot. Yeah, my for whatever reason my internet doesn't seem like it's that great. So we got that comment from Stan. Oh no.
Are you
I'm
there, Riley?
back.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, it's showing my Wi-Fi is not that strong. I thought once I got back to the US, my internet would just always be good, but not necessarily.
I agree with what Stan's saying about peace and naturally comforting. I mean, creativity is a self-care practice for me. It's a way of leveling myself out, bringing myself back to a mood that I want to be in, or
Mm,
mindset that I want to be. It kind of cleanses me. It's renewing for me.
mm, that's great. Yeah, I think that's something that I forget about sometimes. Can you hear me?
Hmm.
Okay, great. Now I'm all paranoid that I'm cutting out again. Great. Well, we also have this comment from Eli, feeling inspired. Oh, it sounds like Waterworld already knew about fluid acrylics.
Good.
Karen's also liked that color, I guess. Okay, let's talk about your YouTube channel. So, how did you get started with your YouTube channel and maybe tell us a little bit about it?
Well, after leaving teaching in the elementary classroom, I wanted to keep teaching in some kind of format and creating and sharing things. So a year and a half ago, I started Creative Solace Studios. I'm still kind of finding my niche and finding my way in it. It definitely is art journal, nature journal, wellness, and self growth oriented. I just put up a video today that's a flip through of that Wild Wonder notes from last year. And yeah, the motto of it is where art creates a healing, let me get it right. Where art creates a healing oasis. Nope, I'm not getting it right. I gotta look it up now.
That's okay. It's probably the pressure. That happens to me too.
Soothing oasis. Soothing oasis for healing and self growth.
Nice. That is so cool. So I was kind of blown away. I think it looked like you have over 600 you have more than 600 videos on your YouTube channel.
Yeah, I got a little obsessive. I've got a lot of those shorts that are under 1 minute, and then I want to get into more of the longer videos too.
Still, that's a lot because I think that I might have 500, but I've had my YouTube channel for, I mean, I've been doing the Nature Journal show for at least 3 years, but I think I've been posting videos for 4 years. So you have more videos than me, and you've only been doing it for like a year and a half. So that's pretty impressive. So, folks, if you haven't checked it out, definitely go over there at some point, maybe after the live or right now. You could open another window because Kathleen has a bunch of really cool content. I think there's a lot of people who are already using mixed media in the audience here, but if you haven't tried it already, you might learn some cool stuff.
And if
You
there's
even
something
had
you're
some.
interested
Mhm.
in hearing about, connecting to the nature journaling in some kind of way, I'm up for making new videos too.
Great. Yeah. Well, congratulations on reaching. I think you said you recently reached 1,000 subscribers and your channel is growing. So keep up the good work. I was very impressed with all of your content.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, I think we are ready for the lightning round.
That's been in the back of my mind what you're going to ask.
Okay. First of all, let's hear your best lightning sound. Nice. I'm gonna record that one
Ah,
and make sure that it comes up every time that I do the lightning round because
ah.
that was probably the best ever. So, oh, we got a bunch of new people just joined in just in time for the lightning round. Wow, suddenly there's 21 people watching, so that's cool. Yay. Okay. So the first lightning round questions are going to be yes or no questions. And then they'll be slightly longer, but at least for the yes or no, try to just make them quick. Don't overthink them. Whatever comes to mind first. Are you ready?
Yes.
And folks in the live chat, feel free to share what your favorite lightning round question is and what your answer to it would be. Okay, let's go. Is coffee an essential art supply?
No, but I did use it for painting, but I'm not oh, it's just supposed to be yes and no. No, but I can
That's
explain more.
right. Okay. Organized or messy?
Messy, but I think I'm organized.
Okay. Do you prefer nature journaling or making art alone or with other people?
I have been doing it. I'm not even supposed to just say yes or no or in one word. I have been doing it alone, but I want to get into doing it with other people.
Okay. Does your family understand your art?
Yes.
Great. Snacks?
Oh, what did you say?
Snacks?
Snacks? Um, sometimes.
Okay. Are you a perfectionist?
Sometimes, but I don't want to be.
Great. Recovering perfectionists, we're having a meeting after this for everyone who's in that club. Um, would you rather nature journal plants or animals?
Plants.
Okay. Ink or graphite?
Ink.
Do you ever put art supplies in your mouth?
Embroidery floss when I'm sewing, but that's the only thing.
Okay. Big picture or micro?
Oh, my initial response was big picture, but I go pretty back and forth.
Okay, that's good. Um, would you rather make art on Mars or in the deep sea?
You mean like underwater in the deep sea?
Uh-huh.
Mars.
Okay. And then the last question of the yes or no ones is what face do you make when someone says, "You are so talented. I could never do that."
Well, first it's a smile, but then it's like, no, no, wait, you can do stuff.
Nice. Okay, so the rest of the questions for the lightning round are sort of longer answers. Um, if you could have a nature journaling superpower, what would your superpower be?
To organize the nature journals, both in terms of an index, but then when I finish them, I want to find them all again and find different things in them again.
Ooh, that's a good one. No one has actually come up with that one. Yeah, that's a really good one. Okay, um, if you could nature journal with any historical figure, who would you want to nature journal with?
My dad, he passed a few
Aw,
years ago, and he's who got me connected really into nature.
aw, that's sweet. It sounded like you had some amazing adventures together. All right, and then the final question for the lightning round is, if you fell asleep next to a fairy circle of toadstools and got transported through to fairyland and could only bring 5 art supplies with you, what 5 art supplies would you bring on that fairy voyage?
Oh, I was thinking about my wings and my wand and stuff. Our supplies, paper, paper,
Okay,
that teal paint, and a board to
that's
put on.
2.
a board to put under the paper so I can a um, clipboard under the paper.
Okay, 3. You still have 2 more.
Oh, did you say 5 or 3 supplies?
5, yeah.
Oh, 5. Next would have to be a micron pen, Pigma
Ooh,
micron
mhm.
pen, and I think I would go with another Pigma micron in a different color, a red.
Nice. I can't wait to see the art pages you bring back, from Fairyland. That is gonna be really awesome. Alright, good job in the lightning round. That was fun. And, for those of you who are watching, what 5 supplies would you take with you on a journey to Fairyland? You could be nature journaling a lot of interesting creatures over there, so think about what you would want to bring. Okay, let's go into some, sort of, like, personal questions and sort of, like, vision questions and stuff like that. And the first one is, what is your dream project? What would be a dream project for you?
Um, it would be something where I was using art and nature to be self-reflective and uh, working through some things on my own, but also giving prompts to other people about how I was doing that they can apply it to themselves, and just basically um, ways to cope through life through your art and nature journal.
Nice, nice. I feel like this aspect of nature journaling is a little bit underrepresented, so I'm really glad that you're bringing this piece in. Um, that makes me wonder, are you on the Nature Journal Club Facebook page at all?
I am.
Okay, yeah, that seems like it would be a good place to share some of the ideas and stuff because it seems like that topic doesn't always get brought up. Okay, so next question is what is one thing you have learned from teaching?
Um, just to always go into teaching with a learning mindset, that everyone's learning from each other, and what you think you might be teaching, something else might be being learned.
Yeah, I love that. That is so good. That is great. Yeah, it's learning is a two-way street. So great. What is the hardest part about what you do now?
uh, as far as art making or
Yeah, and your YouTube channel and
YouTube,
your and the
I
way you're
guess
teaching online.
connecting with people on YouTube. YouTube is vast. It's huge.
Mhm.
So just I believe that there's people out there for every type of YouTube content. It's hard to find people who are interested and have your stuff speak to them. So just more
Mhm.
connections, more connections.
Got it. Got it. Great. Um, okay, so then my next question is, what are some other ways that, we talked about ways that nature journalers can use sort of mixed media and art journaling techniques. What about, going in the opposite direction? It seems like more people do art journaling than nature journaling or junk journaling than nature journaling. What are some ways do you think that people who do art journaling or mixed media at home can incorporate more nature journaling into their practice?
I've thought about this. I've before I got into doing my own tutorials and videos, I watched thousands of people's art journal tutorials, and I think one of the biggest pitfalls in them is that sometimes when people hear art tutorial, they want to see a picture of something and they want to copy it. So I think what art journaling can learn from nature journaling is to take certain concepts, but do your own page, your own observation from nature, your garden, and make it not look like everybody else's.
Wow. I didn't realize that was an issue with a lot of the art
I mean,
journaling
it's
classes and videos.
not just that, but I
Mhm.
do find people making those comments about, "Oh, mine doesn't look
Mhm.
exactly like that," and yeah.
Yeah. I did notice that a little bit with the I made a Skillshare class about nature journaling, and I designed it in a way where it would allow a lot of freedom for people, and like it was like a virtual nature journaling adventure, so it kind of just simulates like, oh, we're out nature journaling together. And I filmed the video in a way where it would show like all of these different things that people could draw, but then when people submitted their projects, like some of them just like did exactly what I did in the video, even though I said like, here are like 10 plants to choose from, and here are like these other things to choose from, and even like a poem that's supposed to be like your own poem. And one of the a couple of the projects, it's like they just wrote the same poem that I wrote too. What do you think is going on there? You know, like the first word in your channel is create. So why do you think it's so hard for people to actually create?
I don't know where it starts or why it starts, but I think a lot of people think that art is supposed to look a certain way and that it's usually supposed to be realistic. And that certain people are artists and certain people aren't, which is so far from the truth because art is just it's yourself on paper. And so I don't think it's bad to watch tutorials and do the exact same thing, but if
Hmm.
you do it twice. You know, do one tutorial where, okay, I want to learn something from how this person does something. I'm going to do it once, but then repeat it, do it again with your own subject or style, your own take on it, so you get to trust yourself and your abilities and you feel more part of the decision making process and it's more of your creativity too.
Got it. Yeah, that's a good answer. I'm gonna be thinking about that a lot now, actually, because I just published another Skillshare class. So the whole idea of like, um, how can we help people, put themselves, like you said, your journal is yourself on paper, art is yourself on paper. Look, Gene just um, typed that quote into, I think that quote of yours is going to be going around. So thanks, Gene, for immortalizing Kathleen's quote there. I'm going to be thinking a lot about this topic. I think this conversation has been really cool. And just to make sure, you know, I we covered things. Is there anything you want to share that I didn't ask, or like what else should people know? Or is there a question that I should have asked that I didn't ask? Like maybe take a moment to think about what are some of the gaps in this conversation.
Mm. I don't really see a gap. I just really appreciate the work that you do on, on its own, but also appreciate the way that you connect with other people because, life is all about a big web and finding connections that have meaning to us. And so I really appreciate connecting with other people who are doing nature journaling, are explorers. I call myself an art explorer, and making that network of people.
Thanks. I appreciate that. And I did notice that you used the word explorer too. That's one of the words that I use to describe myself. Well, this has been amazing. Lots of people in the chat have been really excited about it. Lots of people have been watching. It's a very popular live. So, where can what would your call to action, or sort of last inspiring words? We want people to check out your YouTube channel for sure. Is there anything sort of like inspiring, or last thing you want to say, words of encouragement for either beginners or people who've been nature journaling for a while, or people who are just art journaling, haven't nature journaled yet? Like any last quotes?
Just if you're a nature journaler, just try one mixed media thing in your page, whether it's just a painted border around it or sticking a pocket in there. I love doing pockets in my
Ooh.
conference notes. I've got all kinds of pockets in there. Do a pocket and stick some extra papers in there. Just try one thing.
Yeah, pockets are so cool. So everybody go home right now or take out your nature journal and make a pocket, and that would already be like a huge benefit from art journaling and sort of those other creative journaling practices. Kathleen, thank you so much for
Thank
making the
you.
time to come on the show. It's been really fun.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
All right, bye everybody. See you on Sunday probably or next Wednesday. Bye.